Welcome to the GTN show.
Yeah, on this week's show, we are going to be discussing a pro Ironman athlete taking on fitness racing and Georgia Taylor Brown opening up about some of her recent struggles.
Plus, a triathlete wins the UK's biggest cross-country race, and there's an impressive new world record at the Ultraman Hawaii.
Yeah, let's start the show.
All right, starting the show as we always do with React, some of the stuff we've seen on the internet over the last week or so. And starting with this one from Challenge Canberra, a new event which we'll talk about a bit more later. But it's Elsfisser crossing the line, and clearly she left it all out there. Right out there. I mean, gross.
I always admire people that can to pace it that well, that they've given everything, and then like you're not sick until you actually get across that line.
Well, there was a sprint finish in this one, so maybe she just had a flush of lactic acid from that sprint finish, and she lost her lunch. Yeah, we'll get to the results of that race a little bit later.
Yeah, we will. For these next couple of posts, we need to kind of do a little bit of an introduction. So we talked about fitness racing in the intro. Well, we were referring to Hydrox, which you might have heard of. It's a growing sport that tests power, strength, and endurance. And they basically describe it as a combination of running and functional fitness. It's always in indoor arenas, and it's a set event. We have a total of 8 lots of 1 kilometre of running mixed in with various other sort of strength and gym-based exercises. And it's caught the eye of a few triathletes, ourselves included, but including some pros and some ex-pros. So you might remember Gordon Benson. He is now an ex-professional triathlete, did very well at Super League and raced ITU distance. And he just put his post up the day before, just explaining what it is. So you can have a quick glance through of just seeing exactly how hard and how much weight everyone has to carry. This is in the pro category. And he actually finished 20th. And to give you an idea, the winners were just under an hour. He took 1 hour and 5 minutes. And then Joe Skipper went and had a go as well. Yeah. He's been quite open about this, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, as an Ironman triathlete, pro, you want to challenge yourself, and especially when they're claiming that these are the fittest people on earth. Well, Joe, in his own admission, was a little bit humbled by his experience there. He said he definitely underestimated it. He said he completed it, a true test of fitness, absolutely awesome event, massively underestimated, but really enjoyed it. And he finished in 1 hour 31 in 234th place. Clearly that carrying kettlebells and such is not really something that an Ironman pro particularly loves, but he said he did really enjoy the experience.
Yeah, you'd think that just shows how fit and strong his athletes must be, because his running is pretty impressive, Joe's. So over 8 1Ks, you think, but I think his legs got so ruined that then
well, yeah, that's the thing. You do a bunch of lunges and squats and stuff. You can't run anyway. Yeah. It doesn't matter how good at running you are.
Well, I think that needs to be a potential future GTN challenge to go and have a go at Hydrox. We might be hitting
I'm up for it.
I think we might be after Gordon for tips as opposed to Joe. But.
Yeah, I think we'll hit him up. Yeah. Oh, in other news, Joe Skipper also had a bit of a rant on his podcast, which was quite interesting to see, because it was all about the entry fees for the World Championships in Ibiza, which he did earlier this year, the World Triathlon Long Course World Championships, and he didn't pay his entry fee, but he was supposed to pay his entry fee, essentially, and he has now been chased by British Triathlon to pay that entry fee. And in his words, he said they threatened that he will not get his pro license renewed. They will take that away from him if he doesn't pay I think it's £243 that he owes them for that entry fee. And he had a bit of a rant saying, what kind of sport is this? What elite sport in the world sends their athletes to a race and expects them to pay their own entry? Can you imagine Roger Federer turning up to Wimbledon and he is told he has to pay £240 for his entry to play on centre court, which I suppose is a just argument, although also he knew what the deal was when he signed up for it. They can't just pay everyone's entry fee once to go and race.
I mean, I don't know how he managed to enter, because normally you can't enter unless you've paid. So they've obviously got some sort of glitch in their system to allow the pros to enter, but then maybe they don't make it clear enough.
It must be a British Triathlon code or something that you get to get a pro entry, perhaps, something like that. Anyway, apparently he was threatened by British Triathlon. British Triathlon did actually comment and said, we would not threaten to remove a pro status. But we would advise an athlete that this is a possibility if outstanding fees aren't paid, which sounds a little bit like a failed plan, to be honest.
It's just slightly sort of dampened and hidden.
But also you lose your pro status if you don't pay that. I'm sure Joe will pay it, but it's
I think he's making his point for the moment,
yeah, he's
isn't
making
he?
his dispute and using his platform.
I mean, I feel I totally get his argument of like any other sport, and that you don't, as a pro, to pay to go to World Champs is such a strange concept. And then, like he did also say that the pros don't then see the support from British Triathlon per se. Yes, they've obviously got their own networks and things, but pro long distance don't receive or reap the awards per se.
I have a lot of sympathy for Joe because I've been in exactly this situation. Although he's got a little bit better off than I had. I mean, I got told you have to wear this South African suit, no questions asked. It is a requirement for long course world champs. And then I was told you have to pay for the suit.
Yeah. I mean, that's the age group world, but it should, there should be a separation, shouldn't there? But
anyway,
we could go
moving quickly on. Georgia Taylor-Brown has sat down with Super League and given a pretty in-depth interview into her struggles of the last year. And you will probably have been aware of her struggles of the last year. She only raced 4 times this year. She's had all kinds of injury woes and everything else, but she also opens up about a few other things. And it's quite a enlightening but almost difficult to watch video interview with her, because she goes into quite a lot of depth. Her previous relationship, her boyfriend turned out to be an alcoholic, and she'd been struggling with that for a good many years. They were in the relationship for a long time, and that was affecting her triathlon career, on top of a stress fracture, which turned into another stress fracture, and it's just been one thing after the other. But obviously she's talking Paris 2024 and trying to get back there, and as the reigning silver medalist, you really hope that she is on that start line, and it does sound like things are turning around for her.
Yeah, I mean, the fight for the American women and the British women, I think, is quite publicised, and there was an article I read recently of just the sort of 4 or 5 who are really in the mix for 3 spaces. So she's got her complete focus on that. However, she did just at the end of that interview mention that she's not sure after Paris whether it's still going to be another cycle for triathlon, or she's quite intrigued and interested to see if she could get into a pro cycling team. So that could be something fun to watch for us following along. This next post from Lucy Charles Barkley and her partner Reese, it just caught my eye because I quite like this brand and they're a charity. So she's put, surround yourself with positive people, great jumpers, and remember you are stronger than you think. We're supporting Sisu Mines and Hector Share this festive period. Profits from these stag jumpers will be donated to Hector's house. And they're just really cool festive jumpers. And they're actually, the Sisu Mines, the company that makes them, or the charity, it was co-founded by Lauren Stedman, who's a para-triathlete and a friend of mine, and I just thought it was quite cool that they're promoting something nice and charitable, as well as getting in the festive spirit ahead of Christmas. Really cool. Moving on with this one, and it's a triathlete who's sticking it to the running world, although to be fair, he's only recently become a triathlete, and he has found that triathlon is making him a better runner somehow. Well, he won the biggest UK cross-country race this past weekend, the Liverpool Cross, which is also a qualifier for the European cross-country champs, which he will now be going to. But Hugo Milner took the win there with a very impressive win by over 20 seconds, I believe. And then afterwards in an interview, he said, since I've switched to triathlon, all of the running races I've done just feels so easy compared to when I have to run 10Ks off the bike. I mean, he ran, I think it was 9.6Ks for the cross country on a very technical course in like 28 minutes and some change. Oh my God, and look at the amount of mud there as well. That's ridiculous. So it was proper. I mean, we might be looking at a new triathlon superstar coming out if he can run like that in the mud. I mean, he'll be giving Alex Yee a run for his money, won't he, with that pace? Very impressive. Amazing. Talking of Alex Yee, I didn't even realise this wasn't on purpose. This next post from Team GB and Beth Potter is a picture of Alex Yee and Beth Potter together, just saying, cheers, our latest 2 recruits for Paris 2024. So they have officially been selected for Team GB to compete next summer. So that's looks like a bit of a lonely tea party there, doesn't it? It looks like they need at least 4 more British athletes to sit around that tea table with them. It looks very British as well, doesn't it? Sort of, it does. Just quietly sip the tea. It's a bit of a soft announcement because we knew already that these 2 were in the British team. There will be more announcements, obviously, of the rest of the team, but those are subjective positions now because no one did the automatic qualifying. So now British Triathlon has to decide who they're going to send, and we wait with bated breath to find out who that's going to be. Well, on to What the Tech. And recently, Sella Italia have just released a brand new 3D printed triathlon saddle, which we have here. Now, the What saddle, which it is based on, the original we have been using for a long time, which was developed in hand with Patrick Langer. But this is apparently the first ever 3D printed triathlon saddle.
Yeah, it's the What 3D Kit Carbonio Superflow, and it is essentially the same shape as the previous Kit Carbonio that we've been riding for a long time. However, they've 3D printed it, which allows them to have custom cushioning zones. So essentially, because it's 3D printed, they can change the density of these little holes, and it can have more cushioning in some places and less cushioning in other places. And they say it's the bleeding edge of technology and the world's first 3D printed triathlon saddle. We haven't actually ridden it yet, but we'll give you an update once we have. It weighs in at only 222 grams, so it's not going to weigh you down.
Might leave some prints in your bottom. Depends how good your chamois is.
Yeah, I suppose it depends what you're wearing.
Well, on to race news, and the season still continues. We've got a few races from this weekend, starting with Challenge Canberra down in Australia. And the women's race, well, that was a result of that sprint finish, which we had the picture of Els Visser, who literally emptied the tank in that effort. So she took the win ahead of Fenella Langridge, just 9 seconds between them, and Radka Kalfalt was in third. Now, both Els and Fenella are going to be racing again this weekend coming in the Ironman Western Australia on the 3rd of December.
On the men's side, Daniel Beckergaard did take the win, but he almost threw it all away on one of the first corners of the bike because apparently he had a fogged up visor and a sharp corner, and yeah, he went off the road. Lost himself a good 2 minutes, managed to get back on the bike, catch up to the leaders and take the win. Daniel Beckergaard winning ahead of Kurt MacDonald in second and Caleb Noble in third there. Yeah, he luckily saved that one. Then we also had down south the Harvey Bay 100, which is a PTO distance. We now call it the PTO distance, although then originally, anyway, it's 2Ks, 80Ks and 18Ks, so a little bit shy of half Ironman. And that was in Australia with the women, Sarah Crowley taking the win ahead of Renique Harley, with Catherine Crush coming in third.
Yeah, and in the men's race, that was won by Nicholas Free ahead of Joshua Begbie and Craig Davis in third.
And then moving to the other side of the world in Hawaii, where the Ultraman World Championships for the ultra distance. For those who don't know, Ultraman is a 515 kilometer 3-day triathlon that circumnavigates the big island of Hawaii. It actually starts in Kona, where the Ironman World Championship starts. But they don't just do the Ironman route 3 times or 2 times. They swim 10K straight down the coast from Kona to Keauhou Bay. They then get out and they bike all the way to Volcanoes National Park. So it's a 10K swim and then a 90-mile ride on that first day. The following day, they ride all the way around the south of the island, all the way up the east coast of the island, all the way across the north of the island to ride 276 kilometers, 171 miles on that second day. And then on the third day, from Harvey, they run the Queen K, which is the traditional Ironman bike route, all the way back to Kona, which is a double marathon, 84 kilometers. It started 40 years ago? Right?
Yeah, it is as old as we are, James. And one of the really sort of amazing things about the event is there's no prize money allowed. And this came about when they went after founding the event, and it got sold and passed on to the new race owners and directors back in 1992. And one of the main stipulations was it's not allowed to change and it has to stay prize money free. So I guess it keeps it true to its spirit. It's very much an amateur event in a sense, but you can't just, I don't think anyone could just go along and do it. There are also only 40 places available. So if you do want to, you're going to have to get in there early. But yeah, I think it's just a very unique event for so many reasons.
Yeah, it's pretty niche. But this year, it has a new record, and a very impressive record at that. Simon Cochrane from New Zealand won in 20 hours, 57 minutes and 46 seconds. That is a new record on the course, which has been going for over 40 years, by 44 minutes. He smashed it, absolutely smashed it. In fact, he won the race by nearly just shy of 5 hours, like 4 hours and 57 minutes ahead of second place. And to put that in perspective, on day one, it's over 7 hours of swimming 10Ks and then biking. The next day, it's over 7 hours of just biking. And on the third day, he ran 2 marathons back to back in 6 hours and 9 minutes. So that's like under 3:05 per marathon.
And there's
twice
quite a
in
lot of
row.
hills, as we know from riding.
It's not flat,
back
and it's
from
Hawaii,
Harvey.
so it's not cool either. And you're hot and sweaty, and I mean, it is a very, very impressive time there by Simon Cochran. And yeah, hats off to him for that new record.
Yeah, I mean, the run bit is the one that gets me, just running that far in one direction with just the same view of lava rock. I mean, it's bad enough on the bike, but not going to be signing up for it anytime soon. But second overall was a woman. Amy Robitaille took the winner for the women's race, second overall, and then third overall, so second in the women's event, was Andre-Anne Girard.
Yep, sharing that podium. Simon's sharing that podium with two women. Very impressive all round, those performances. Well done to everyone. Going to be on your bucket list, Heather? Ultraman?
No, I mean, it's not even like a current with a swim. There's just, I love Hawaii, but I'll
You get to see
just
the
go-
whole of Hawaii.
Yeah, and that aspect. I mean, I've driven the whole of Hawaii, and it's really cool, but I think I'll stick to the open top car view.
Don't think we're going to convince her.
And in other race news, there's a new event just been added to the calendar from the Challenge family, and they have chosen Turkey for their upcoming race in June. It's actually the 2nd of June, 2024 for Challenge Gallipoli, and this is actually going to be held in the Gallipoli Peninsula. I don't know if I've said that correctly, but this is an area that's full of lots of history from the World War and apparently also beautiful. So if it's something that you want to combine a bit of triathlon with some heritage and history touring, then it could be the race for you.
Interesting. Also coming up this weekend, Ironman Western Australia, as we mentioned. Those two ladies are going to go head-to-head again. Ironman 70.3 Indian Wells, and also Clash Daytona in Miami.
And it's now the lovely time when we get to look at your photos. But before we share the last ones from this month, we have a new theme coming up for the month of December. Can you guess it? Yes, it's going to be Christmas themed. So
You probably could have guessed.
yeah, you probably can. If you are doing anything that is triathlon and Christmas related together and you have photos or videos of it, we would love to see them.
So if you're decorating your pain cave, or you're doing a Santa run, or elf run, or I don't know what kind of run.
Or you're just eating mince pies wearing a tri-suit.
Or maybe decorate your Christmas tree with all triathlon related baubles.
Yeah.
Those are things.
Or you just put a bit of tinsel on your bike.
We'll leave it to you guys for the next month. We're looking for your triathlon / Christmas related content. So send us something. It doesn't have to be training. If you're not training over December, we won't judge you. Feel free to just send something else. But our last ones this week for things that triathletes do in the off season. And we're starting with this one from Steve in Maine in the United States. I use mixed martial arts for cross training all year. This is an interesting one for a triathlete. It doesn't really seem to tie well together. I've completed over 30 full-distance triathlons, including the World Champs in Kona, as well as Keltman. 4 of my boys pictured also fought for New England fights and have completed at least one full-distance Ironman race, so they all do both, apparently. Another son, not pictured, was previously featured in GTN as the youngest triathlete to race the World Championships in St. George. He trains MMA. He's not had a fight in a cage. It doesn't sound like his dad's too impressed that he hasn't been in a cage yet, but maybe he'll get there. As a surgeon, I've taken a lot of heat for potential change I've put myself into, especially my hands. I think that's with his MMA and not with his Ironmans.
Yeah, let's hope so, yeah.
I can't imagine not pursuing my passions and living life to the fullest. Surgery does not define me. It's just one of the many things I do. And he's put some photos with his sons, both in triathlon gear and in their MMA gear. I'm not sure I would advise many of my triathletes to do MMA. I mean, to each their own.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, the training aspect is great, I'm sure, of all the core and the coordination and the strength, but the actual in the cage.
Yeah, maybe just do the training for MMA and not the fighting is the answer.
Oh, I love it though. I love the enthusiasm in that message. So thank you for sharing that one. This next from Arthur in Austin, Texas. It says, coaching my sister with mum watching my version of dry swimming while visiting Austin, Texas during Thanksgiving Day. This is one of my off-season coaching gigs to include friends and high school cross-country team, finishing the cross-country season with the title of 2023 TAPPS Girls 5A State Champion.
Congrats. And then, she's got a video of her doing the dry swimming with a GTN logo on the wall.
That's impressive.
A big one too. Very impressive.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, that's going to give us a run for his money, isn't it? Nice one. Well, we look forward to moving into the festive month, so get those photos sending. You can do that using the uploader, which we share in the link below.
Say what? All right, we're looking at some of your comments on our videos from the past week, and we picked a couple of these out from Mark's I did every Olympic swim event. If you haven't watched that, it's interesting. He tries to complete every event that they have in the Olympics consecutively, one after the other. he struggles a little bit with the butterfly side of it. Spoiler alert. Laura Sheffer says, where are the open water events? Just kidding, Drake. Great job. No easy feat. I did allude to that at the end of the video. Someone else also said, just the pool part. Now for the open water, 5K, 10K, 25K. There isn't a 25K open water event in the Olympics. I think Mark would be very keen to point out. But there is a 10K open water event. And we'll let Mark know that everyone's very disappointed that he didn't attempt the 10K. I did try to convince him. He was having none of it.
There's a bit more disappointment here from Rich Crompton, who says, now that is a challenge I can get on board with. A great achievement. Such a shame Mark would have been disqualified for an illegal finish to the 100 fly, though. Now he has to wait 4 years to give it another go.
I don't think we have to wait 4 years. I think next time we're on a sunshine shoot, we'll get him to give it another go and finish it properly.
Or you could do it instead.
No, let's moving swiftly along. If you coming up on the channel this weekend, we have GTN's Christmas wish list. So if you're looking for presents for that triathlete in your life, make sure you tune in for that one. We've got some good ones on there. We also have Mark doing another silly challenge while we're out in Tenerife. He attempted to do Sam Ledlow's hardest workout that he did before he won the Ironman World Championships in Nice earlier this year. It's a pretty hard one.
I mean, Mark is still okay. That's not the reason he's not in the show today. He's not, just recovering.
We've been trying to kill him. We haven't managed yet.
Well, hopefully you guys have enjoyed today's show. Do give us a like if so. And if you want to watch Mark suffering, well, you can go and check out his Olympic swimming video.